Hi, welcome back. So I'm just going to continue on, as I mentioned, to Aurora's Tea Party event live stream. I have a little bit more light now, so sorry if it was got a little bit dark in the last video for the awakening, her song "Awakening," and anyway, so this should be interesting. I don't know what she's doing. Sometimes I have no idea whatsoever what she's doing, but it's always interesting. At least I find it interesting anyway.
Like this. Oh, hello. Hello, my 11 friends. My 12 friends. I just wanted to...
Okay, so I guess people just started logging on to her, to her live stream. My 11, 12 friends.
A little live stream. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
I know it's not super quiet here and the sound is a bit weird, but I couldn't find a better place to do it right now. And there is a road right outside there, so you can kind of hear all the cars going, but that's fine. We can create our own little universe in here. I just wanted to do a little live stream because today is solstice and the sun is turning direction today, and I find this to be a very magical thing. In Greek mythology, solstice used to be a way for them to celebrate the start of a new year, and I think that's quite beautiful.
Yeah, makes sense too.
Tend to wait with doing the changes we know we should until, you know, the start of a new week or next year or next week or tomorrow, if that makes sense. I feel like we need this this magical marking in our calendar to really go for it and to really feel like we deserve, like we have a second chance. I don't know if I managed to explain it a little
better than I did.
Enough. But I haven't talked English for a while now, so
okay.
Maybe it only makes sense in my head. But I wanted to just celebrate with making you some tea. Here is my teacup. It is see-through, which I think is quite magical. Oh, and it's full of dust. Like this. There is my teacup.
I've never been to a tea party, so this is like...
This is a little thing I put my tea in. I'm going to do like that.
She's such a...
I have this tiny glass bottle. Oh no, I'm going to make rose tea. This is tea that kind of calms you down. It smells a bit like both lavender and a bit like apricot, which is really nice. It has a really nice taste and a really nice smell. But I'm not going to use this right now, actually. I have this little box full of magical things.
She should have a show, you know, for children. Actually, even for everybody. A show that she does this. You know, it's just very comforting. You know, like Mr. What's his name? The Mr. Robert's Neighborhood. Oh, geez, what's his name? Roger's Neighborhood. I can't remember. Yeah, just like a very sensitive, very sweet, just time out, you know, type of thing, and yeah.
And small things, and I used to have a moth in there. This is a dead bee. We used to have a moth in there.
Bee.
No, here it is. You see? That's my moth.
She has a little moth inside a...
Small, and I found her, I think 4 years ago, so she's lasted quite long in this little bottle.
Wow, it's sealed, well sealed from oxygen.
And then I'm also going to light a candle.
I mean, her expressions are just...
And I'm going to move this so it doesn't burn. That.
Well, you just put it in the same place.
I'm also going to...
You just put the candle... in the same place,
So
near
incense, because that's very important when you have.
incense.
It would be so funny if the whole thing just took fire.
It would be.
Okay, it's not gonna burn.
Okay. Oh,
Okay, like this. We have the incense and we have the candle.
what did she said?
And then I'm gonna put
Okay.
some 2 roses. They're dried roses like that. They're really small.
Yeah,
And they're really nice looking. Pink.
I've never seen anything.
Cup.
I mean, I've seen it, but I didn't know you can make tea out of it.
Because 3 is such a magical number.
Is it?
And I bought some
Interesting.
of them. They didn't have a more fabulous teapot than this, which is really disappointing.
Well,
but
it's
you have to just
see-through.
go with what you have. Like this. Then I have my little golden spoon that I can stir it with. Oh, it smells so nice.
See, she enjoys life. You know, every little aspect of it, the nuance, the things that I think we take for granted. She doesn't. I mean, that's because of her attention. She's in the moment, you know, and that's what you need. The attention, being really attentive, you know, to each and every moment, and that's what she does. It's fascinating.
It's like roses. It kind of smells like an
Roses.
old lady, but a beautiful one, a fabulous one, slightly magical. A woman that has lived for like thousands of years, but she's kind of tired of living and ready for it to pass on
Wow.
into her next shape or form of existence.
Wow, that is quite profound, you know, for a cup of tea.
That's how it smells like. Like a fabulous. Now I just wait for the roses to grow a bit bigger. They're already starting to become bigger. They look beautiful floating around in my tea. And this smells like, it smells like the Middle East, kind of. Oh, it's a beautiful smell. Very rich and round and spicy.
See, this is the thing. She, see, what distinguishes, I think, someone that is that has skill and has the ability to do things, you know, sing or whatever they do is talent. But what distinguishes them from true artists is the imagination. Well, in any field, it's the imagination of doing something that is new, is different, it's or adapted differently from things that past, because nothing is really completely new. It's derived from the past, and but it's just their interpretation of things, and that's where you could see her imagination. That's why she's so appealing in just normally, because of that, you know. And then that just carries on to everything else she does, including the music, her writing, everything, her
I
clothes.
hope the fire alarm doesn't go off. If it does, I'm okay. I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna just put it out just in case the fire alarm goes. I have actually put out the fire alarm quite a lot of times.
I believe you.
Because I'm very bad at remembering whenever I'm cooking. So I often cook with, and I forget that I'm cooking, and I burn whatever I'm cooking, and I end up eating like just raw vegetables for dinner. They're better raw.
No wonder she's running for blueberry muffins.
Anyway, they lose all their vitamins when you heat them up, so it's not the worst thing.
She's eating raw vegetables. She ends up eating raw. Okay, so she burns her meals, so she ends up eating raw food, you know. Fingers
I
crossed.
hope you're also making tea. This is a wonderful day.
Okay, I'll make it after.
It's solstice, and the sun is turning, and finally it's getting darker again. And I'm already excited for Christmas. I love Christmas, and I love the winter. I'm very excited for it to come back to me.
Come back to her.
And I'm just picking all the roses out.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm just
She doesn't like
in the
summer.
hallway, but I brought this scarf that I have as piece of, what do you call it when you cover your table with fabric? That's what I did with the scarf.
I don't know.
And I'm using this little table I stole from someone. It's a stole. I stole the table. And I brought some plants from home. These I found on the way here, and I picked them. They're so pretty.
Yeah, those are nice.
Okay, I'm ready to taste it. In ancient times, solstice also was a time people spent celebrating that all the bad spirits were going away again. Solstice was very symbolic for like driving all the bad luck and the bad spirits away. So if you're going through a hard time right now, which I guess quite many of us are, you can think of it that today maybe some of the bad spirits are going away, hopefully. Because it's weird, just like the sun is actually turning direction. And it's strange how often that happens with people as well. When you're going through a hard time and you feel like everything is just lost and there's no tomorrow, and what's the reason of having any tomorrow? It's weird how quickly things can turn. It really is. And whenever I've been really, really depressed, or just like in general not having a good or fabulous time in my life, I've always kind of surprised myself when suddenly things were going a bit better. And it felt like, or like when things are suddenly turning, I always look back at myself and I think, if I only could tell myself back then that you have no idea that one morning you'll wake up and things will be better. And you'll think back and wonder, like, oh, it's almost like you can't even remember how it was to be depressed.
See, I think that's one of the things about being human. We forget things, and I think that that's part of the idea, that we forget things so that we can move on to other things. But that's a very interesting point, if I could just interrupt here for a second, about that we extrapolate things, always in a straight line, just like we see time as linear, straight. We see things as also a continuance on the same path of things. So, but if you look at life as a circle as opposed to these straight lines, then it looks quite different. But we don't see the circle; we see the lines, the tangents of the circle. So in other words, if we see something, a pattern going in one direction, we think that's going to continue straight in that direction. But things have a tendency to go around, and the pattern is like this, and every line that is formed is always like moves along the circle, but it always looks straight from our point of view. It's sort of like, I guess, what people used to think about the world being flat, right? Because they saw how they saw the horizon, right? And they always thought, okay, it's straight, but in actuality, it's turning. And that's a very similar thing in the way we see things and we perceive things about life. But it tends to be a circle because because we also tend to repeat the same cycle over and over again.
I know it sounds strange, but you will get there too. Times change so fast, and nothing is eternal. not happiness, not happiness, and not sadness.
Oh.
Not even this tea, and not me, nor the light or the dark.
Oh, wow. She's so profound, right? I mean, what she's saying, nothing is eternal, and so on and so on. I actually think there is something that is that I would consider eternal. But that's besides the point. I think she would probably agree. But anyway.
Maybe music.
Okay.
And with that, I don't mean specifically my music. I just mean
okay.
Like music. I feel like music has always been here.
Okay.
It will always be here.
See, because there is one thing that is eternal, and it's love, unconditional love. Okay, not the love that we prescribe as what we think of it, generally speaking, but something that's beyond ourselves, right? And she says music. She goes, maybe that's eternal, and I think fundamentally. I agree, because for her, music is love. So, makes sense?
And hopefully Mother Earth will always be here too, and her beautiful nature, as long as we take care of the little that is left of it.
Well, Mother Earth is going to be here way after we are. So I'm not as concerned about Mother Earth. it's what's on it that may be expelled from it in order for Mother Earth to cure itself, but it'll be around longer than we are. We will, most chances are, right? So anyway, well, we'll be off in another world with Elon Musk, ruining another planet because we've ruined this one. We're going to go to another one and ruin that one.
I think today, or any day, of course, it's good to celebrate, and it's good to be mindful and maybe just talk to yourself a little and remind yourself of, what am I doing here? If I know, I should do that. And if I don't know what the hell I'm doing here on this floating rock in the middle of the universe, that's also okay. And if you've been very existential lately, especially after the coronavirus hit us all, I just know that it's completely normal. I think many of us have been reminded of, what really matters, and many of us have become very existential, like nothing matters, because I think many of us were spending a lot of Many of us were spending a lot of energy on things that didn't really matter, and a lot of money and time, and then the virus kind of reminded me, at least, on what doesn't really matter, like celebrities, and how weird it is that some people are so rich, and some people have nothing.
Okay, is this girl something else, She's talking about, she is a celebrity at this point, but she doesn't perceive herself as that, and that is something else. That is really, and I think she's not going to change. She's always going to see herself as just a normal, regular person. Very grounded, because she is grounded. She has established her roots. She knows who she is. She's independent of thought. She's brilliant. She doesn't need anybody else's ideas, necessarily. She just has it all in many ways. So yeah. And then she says, she can't believe, celebrities and people that have so much money and so many people that don't, right? And I do, and I agree with that. And I mentioned this before, and I think, if I had to address, people that are in the top 1% or you know, in the top, you know, that are like, I don't know, you know, how do you people sleep at night? Really? And they probably answer, well, very well, actually, because we live in a beautiful mansion and posh neighborhood with, you know, comfy beds. So they probably sleep very well at night. But I don't understand that.
They've lost someone, how important it is to tell them that we love them before they go away. And giving yourself time and space to heal or go through whatever you're going through, that's also very important. But today, during solstice, things are turning for the better.
See, she has such a positive way of looking at things.
And my tea smells wonderful. Right now, that's the best thing about my life, is this tea.
See, it's just...
It's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And it smells so nice in here also. Oh my God.
I have to go get some tea and some incense or something, because I'm upset just talking about the things that I talked about, which I didn't want to do, but I don't know how I ended up there. Sorry about that. But she went, but just watch her, okay? Don't watch me, because she's very comforting and sweet, and she puts everything into perspective in a very positive way. She's magical, right? I mean,
okay, well, I might have to go. I'm actually rehearsing with my band, but I just wanted to have a tiny tea party with you.
oh wow.
And
Imagine that, she stopped, she's rehearsing with the band, she stopped to have tea with us. Think about that.
And I hope you go on with the rest of your day, feeling well. Try to either go for a walk outside or make yourself a cup of tea. Or like a glass of water with a lemon in it, and maybe like a glass of straw or something if you have it. Or just look up at the sky and try to think about how big the universe is.
Oh, okay, that's so sweet. Okay, look up at the sky and try to think about how big the universe is. And okay, that I'd like to share in a sense, right? Because I do that, and sort of like to put a make things sort of like how relative things are, right? In the sense of size, in the sense of like where we are at, and so on and so on, who we are, what we think we are, and so on and so on. And you look up at the sky, and you know, if you take a grain of sand, it's a little bit a grain of salt. I think, I don't know if you can see it, grain of salt from. But it's coarse, so it's quite big actually. But if you take this, or take some like smaller, right, like a grain of sand, which is much smaller, and you stretch out your arm, right? Stretch out your arm like this, all the way to in front of your eyes, right? But it's all stretched and so on. Well, and then you look through it. You put it up in this towards the sky, and and just to give you an idea how small we are. That grain of sand, the little grain that I just showed you, actually is much smaller than that. From the distance of the end of your finger and the end of your pointed arm, it blocks out from your vision when you're trying to look through it, it blocks out from your vision approximately 10,000 galaxies. Think about that. That little grain of salt or that little grain of sand, whatever, at the end of your finger with your arm stretched out like this, and you're looking up, towards the sky. That little grain blocks out, okay, to repeat myself, 10,000 galaxies. Now, each galaxy in the universe has anywhere between 100 billion to a trillion stars within them. Maybe more, I don't know, or maybe less, I don't know, somewhere around there. And there's approximately, I don't know, at least 100 billion galaxies out there. And we belong to one of those galaxies, the Milky Way, which has about 200 billion stars, just this galaxy. But that little grain of salt in that distance actually, blocks out, imagine, 10,000 galaxies anywhere you point, or anywhere you try and see through that little sand, the little grain of sand. Now, imagine, it's almost impossible to even imagine such a thing. It's just, so we take ourselves really seriously, and we think a lot of things about ourselves, and the way we think about, everything that we think about is quite strange from that point of view. But it all has to do with the level of knowledge that we have, right? Such as, let's go backwards, since we can't go forward in knowledge because we don't have enough. Because I don't know what we're going to understand in the future. But if we look back, right, and put yourself in the situation of a caveman, okay, or a cave woman, and you have no knowledge of how anything works, right? And then all of a sudden, like, you go outside, and let's say it's you start thinking about, for some reason, you have the ability to think a little bit, and you see this thing in the sky, like the sun, right? And it's like bright, and it's really warm when it reaches on top, and then it starts declining, and then it disappears. So, and then you see that it disappears, like maybe, for 12 hours or something, or near, and it changes all the time, right? The amount of time that it disappears. What do you think has happened to it? First of all, what is it that's actually doing this? What is that thing in the sky? And what is it? What happens to it at the end of the day? And in just a few thousand years ago, they would be thinking like, well, even human beings were thinking, well, there must be some kind of fight going on between the light and the dark, and there would be like, I think in the Egyptian tradition, there would be like two gods fighting against each other, Set and I don't remember the two different gods, and they would fight against each other, and for 12 hours one would win, and then for the other 12 hours approximately the other would win. And that's how they imagined things, because when you have a lack of knowledge and understanding, you fill it in with some kind of belief system, and we haven't really changed that much from that. So everything we don't understand, we turn into some kind of belief system. Now, when it comes to in the physics world, for example, there is also that. There's theoretical physics, and what they do is they extrapolate things from that. They imagine things, and they come up with a theory, and in a way, it's a belief. They believe that that's what it is in some fashion or another, but then they try and prove it. And it only becomes fact when they prove it. So there's at least that part of it. When it comes to other types of beliefs, there is no proof or something like that. It just basically depends on faith, and that tends to be problematic. But anyway, boy, that I digress. I'm sorry about that.
Listen to your favorite song and lie on the floor and close your eyes for a minute.
Wait, that's the...
Just have a little moment for yourself. That's your homework for me. And take care.
She gave us homework.
Okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to drink the rest of my tea. But I kind of have to pee also, so I first have to get liquid out of my body before I put more liquid inside.
This girl is too much.
I'm gonna take this phone without setting myself on fire.
She is so funny too.
Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. I did. Oh, okay. You're 3,000. I'm so sorry that so many of you had to watch me. But this is my table. These are the beautiful flowers. This is the tea. These are the roses now wet.
Oh, okay.
And this is my magical little box with magical things. This is eucalyptus. It's one of my favorite smells. This is some random package of matches I found.
Yes, feel.
Okay, happy solstice. And try to take a moment to yourself.
Okay.
With either a good sound, or a good smell, or a good taste, or just relaxing, like a good thought. In any shape or way, just take a little moment out of the day to yourself. Okay, I'm going to go. I don't know if I turned the live stream the wrong way now, but whatever. There are more important things in the world. Okay, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave you. Goodbye, my brothers.
She has trouble like saying goodbye, you know? I understand what, oh my gosh, she is so sweet. Okay, I came back here because she went, because it went somewhere else. It just finished. She is too much. She's so sweet. It's incredible, you know? She's herself, and she is nice. She's a very nice person, and very nice, very sweet, brilliant, philosophical, optimistic. I'm not as optimistic as her, as you probably have noticed, and just a bright light, you know. Very nice. Okay, enough of that, enough of me. I think I spoke more than she did. Sorry about that. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.